Anne Widdecombe, I think the government's former chief Brexit negotiator, the man that really got Brexit done, Lord Frost, could probably resolve this issue by standing firm on the Northern Ireland Protocol, potentially triggering Article 16. After all, we got that free trade agreement with the EU because he made it clear that Britain would walk away if the terms were not satisfactory. Do you think that Rishi Sunak can be as firm, and can he get the job done?
Well, that's a very good question. I mean, if it were wholly within Lord Frost's disposal, I wouldn't have any worries at all. I'm not sure how tough Rishi will be on this. Yes, he's a Brexiteer, and I'm quite certain that any PM wants to get Northern Ireland sorted out well before the next general election. But it does mean actually being willing to trigger Article 16 if necessary. It does mean carrying through the legislation that Liz Truss introduced. And it does mean, and this is the crucial bit, it does mean saying to the EU, we have negotiated for long enough and it hasn't resulted in agreement. And it is crucial that Britain can trade within her own borders. And at the moment we can't, and therefore, at least at the moment we can't without a great deal of difficulty, and therefore, deadline, ultimatum, that is what he's got to do. Terribly politely, terribly diplomatically, but that is what he's got to do. And if he won't do it, we'll still be talking in 10 years' time.
What might the consequences be, Anne Widdecombe? After all, we're in an economic crisis. We've got raging inflation. We're probably in recession. We don't want a trade war with the EU, do we?
No, we don't want a trade war with the EU. But on the other hand, I doubt very much if the EU wants a trade war with us. And it's a question really of who blinks first. But there is no need for any of this because Boris's proposal, for example, a green channel for goods going only to Northern Ireland, a red channel for goods heading on to the EU. Something as simple as that could have been worked upon. But as usual, they're obstructive for one reason only. They want us to pay for Brexit. And that is what we've got to face down. And then after that, I think there won't be the talk of trade wars, because if we can just get rid of this business, that this is a tit-for-tat situation, then we might make progress. But first and foremost is Northern Ireland. They are part of the UK. They are part of our internal trade. That is what takes priority, not relations with the EU. I mean, when you talk about the serious situation we're in, have you seen what the inflation rate is in some of their countries? Dear heaven.
Absolutely right. And a far deeper recession. Deutsche Bank are predicting a contraction in the German economy of between 3% and 4%. Germany's the basket case, the sick man of Europe, not the UK. Arlene, I'll come back to you in just one moment. And let me just remind you, of course, that you left the Conservative Party to join the Brexit Party in 2019. So what about the Brexit bigger picture, setting aside the Northern Ireland Protocol, which is completely unsustainable and it's a nightmare for Northern Ireland, the good people of Northern Ireland. But what about the rest of Brexit? Do you think this Prime Minister can tap into its enormous potential, particularly trade deals and the kind of economic bounce that it offers us?
I think the most disappointing thing about Brexit has been that so little advantage has been taken of it, other than the vaccination programme, which was the first big demonstration of how good it was to be out of the EU. There has been very little. Now, one's got to be realistic about it. COVID is to blame for a lot of that. There wasn't a huge amount that could be done during those couple of years. But I don't hear anybody talking about, well, this is what we're going to do. Now we've got control, for example, of our own VAT. We don't hear anything about how we're going to take big advantage of Brexit. The exception, actually, was Liz Truss, who understood that we had to be competitive, and hence the cap on the banker's bonus and the upper tax limits and all the rest of it. And however bungled a job she made of it, at least she wanted to take advantage of Brexit. Now, I don't hear that from any of the others.